Hello everyone, I am Simran Kaur, your science teacher from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group, and welcome to part 2 of chapter 9, Soil. In previous part we discussed formation of soil, what is soil profile and types of soil. In this video we will discuss properties of soil and the crops grown in the different type of soil, pH of the soil, and soil an important natural resource, and what is soil erosion. Now, properties of soil. The very first property of soil is the texture, how it feels when we touch or how it appears when we look at it. So, soil texture refers to the proportion of sand, silt and clay sized particles present in it. We know that soil is a mixture of different type of particles like gravel, sand, silt, clay. Sandy soil, we discussed three types of soil: sandy soil, loamy soil and clayey soil. Sandy soil has a gritty texture. Gritty texture means it has a rough texture. When you touch it, you will find it very rough. Loamy soil crumbles. Take loamy soil and when you will rub it in your finger, then what will happen? It will break and it will fall apart. So that is, it has the crumble nature. Clayey soil makes a shiny coating on fingers. When you will rub clayey soil in your hand, then it will leave the soil in your hand, means the shiny coating on your fingers. Second property of soil is percolation rate of water. Percolation rate, or we say the amount of water absorbed by soil. So percolation rate is the amount of water absorbed by any soil at any given time. You know that during rainfall, when rain falls on the cemented floor, it just flows down. But when the rain falls on the ground, means which has soil, then that water gets absorbed by the soil. Due to which property? Due to percolation rate of water, this property. We can find out percolation rate of any soil by using this formula. Amount of water percolate divided by percolation time. Let's take an example. Just take a glass and pour let's say 100 ml of water into it. Then spill that water in the ground and note that how much time, how much seconds or minutes it is taking to get absorbed by the soil. That is how you can find out the percolation rate of water. Next property is water retention capacity. Water retention capacity, or we can say it water holding capacity, that how much amount of water it is holding. It is the amount of water that a given soil can hold. It depends on two factors: size of particles and humus content. Like in the types of soil, we discussed that the clay soil has small particles, so it can hold greater amount of water as compared to sandy soil, because sandy soil has larger particles and water cannot hold into the spaces present in between them. Here you can see the images. This is saturation point, means all spaces are filled with water. This is field capacity. Now you can see, then when this capacity of this field is over, then it has stopped holding the water. And this is permanent wilting point, means there is less water present in the spaces. And how it depends on humus content? Humus content is what? The substance which is developed by the dead plants and leaves. So it is also responsible for holding the water, that is organic matter. The next is water logging. Water logging is the saturation of soil with water. You know that there is a limit of soil also, means at one point it will stop holding, it will stop absorbing water, and that point is known as water logging. So what will happen if we will provide more water to the soil? Will it absorb it? Will it hold it? No. So what will happen to the water? It will start accumulating over the surface of soil. Here you can see, this is water logging. Water has collected or accumulated on the surface of soil. You can see during heavy rainfall, water can stay above the soil. This soil is rich in clay and short of oxygen. Why? Because clay has smaller size particles which can hold more water and there are less spaces, so that's why short of air, or we can say there is shortage of oxygen. Then soil and crops. Soil type and climatic factor of an area determine the types of vegetation of that area. First is clayey soil. The crops which require more water for growth can be grown in this soil as it holds a good amount of water but is poorly aerated. The crops like paddy or gram, we can grow such crops in this type of soil, clayey soil, because remember the properties of clayey soil. It has smaller particles which can hold more water and it has less space for air. This is the texture of clayey soil. Then loamy soil, it is best for most of the pulses. Why? Because it has equal amount of sand, silt and gravel. So it is best for most of the crops. Then sandy soil. It is not good for most of the crops because of its low water holding capacity and low humus content. We know that plants need water and minerals to grow, but sandy soil has larger spaces in between the particles, so it cannot hold water as water is necessary for the plant growth. So it is not good for many crops. So what type of crops are grown in this type of soil, sandy soil, like carrot, radish, tomatoes. Now pH of the soil. We have discussed this pH in chapter 5, acid, bases and salt. Do you remember what is pH scale? It measures the acidity or basicity of any substance. So pH of the soil means we are discussing the pH, the acidity or basicity of any given soil. It ranges from 0 to 14. You know the range of pH scale. It varies from 0 to 14. From 0 to 7 it is acidic. The number 7 represents the neutral, and from 7 to 14 it represents the basicity of any substance. Soil in moist climate is acidic, whereas in dry climate soil is basic. The region which receive rainfall, which is wet, that has the acidic nature. Now how soil is an important natural resource. Natural resource means the things which we get from nature. Soil provides nutrients and water to the plants. Yes, we know that plants get their water and minerals from the soil, and soil also provides support to the plant. How? By holding their roots. Then minerals like calcite, bauxite, gypsum are present in soil. Not only these minerals, there are a lot of minerals which are available in soil. Then soil is used for making bricks, huts and also in pottery. Yes, you have seen the construction. What we use? We use bricks, and it is made up of, finally it is ultimately made up of soil. Like in the villages you have seen huts. That is again, it is made up of using soil. Then pottery, in decorative items, what do we use? We use soil. With soil, what kind of soil do we use in pottery? Clayey soil, because of its shiny texture. Then it is home for many organisms like insects, worms, bacteria, fungi and burrowing animals. Here you can see this is home for these insects and animals. Now soil erosion, a very basic topic. Top layer of soil is most fertile. We know that the topsoil or A horizon is very fertile. Why? Because of the presence of humus. So the removal of fertile topsoil by wind or water is called soil erosion. Soil erosion means removal of topsoil, removal of the top fertile soil by the action of wind or water. So this is, soil erosion is good for us or bad for us? Obviously it is bad, because plants grow in the fertile soil and it is reducing the fertility of soil. Now what are the factors which are responsible for soil erosion? First is overgrazing. Because of overgrazing, the animals make the field barren. and in barren field you know that no plants are there. So there is the roots of plants, it helps in combining the soil particles, and if no plant is there then soil can easily erode away with the help of wind. Then poor farming method. There is one method like monoculture, like growing same type of crop again and again every year. So it also responsible for soil erosion. The next is flood. Flood is what during flood, because of the flow of water, the topsoil which comes in contact with that flow of water, it gets eroded away. The next is forest fire. How forest fire is responsible for soil erosion? Because it destroys our vegetation, which ultimately binds the soil particle. If during forest fire, if vegetation is destroyed, then the soil particles will easily carried away with wind or water. So how can we prevent soil erosion? We can prevent it by afforestation, means by planting more trees. When we are planting more trees, means more roots are there which are combining the soil particles. Then reducing the destruction of vegetation, like vegetation means plants and trees. By reducing their destruction, we can prevent soil erosion. Then adopting terrace farming for hilly areas. Here you can see this is terrace farming, how it is responsible in preventing soil erosion. Like, see, it is done in the manner of making steps. So many steps are made in terrace farming, and when the water flows down from top to the bottom, then because of these steps, the speed, the velocity of water decreases, which ultimately prevents soil erosion. You can compare it in your mind also. The water which is flowing with the high speed, it can take the top fertile layer with it, the top fertile layer of soil with it, but the water which has the slow speed, it cannot carry the top fertile layer of soil. And last is controlling the forest fire. These 2 points are almost nearly same. By controlling the forest fire, we are saving what? We are saving our vegetation, we are saving our trees. And as we know, trees helps in binding, they help in the bond between the soil particles. It keeps the bond between the soil particles. So that was all about soil, formation of soil and the types of soil, properties of soil and soil erosion. I hope you understood the chapter well. Thank you for watching.